guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I am going to be digging into my eyeshadow palettes collection, possible some declutter. I'm going to show you what's happening here. It's a complete mess. All my high-end palettes and my affordable palettes are here in the same drawer, and it's getting full, and this is not everything. I also have some palettes stored separately. So this is a plan today. Go organize everything, possibly declutter some things or put some things on the side, give them the last chance, because I know there are several palettes here that I'm gonna chop and block. I want to try them maybe one more time and either declutter, pass them along, just make a decision of what to do with them. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Eva, love all things beauty. And if you're not new, welcome back. If you like this video, give it a thumb up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And without any further ado, let's get into my eyeshadow palette collection and declutter. Alright guys, let's get into this drawer. Oh my god, this needs to be organized. So I'm gonna organize it in different piles. Things that I'm keeping and things that I'm putting in a chopping block and giving them another chance. I'm going to try them one more time, and if I absolutely don't like it, then I will just get rid of it one way or another. I don't even know honestly how many palettes I have. I think maybe about 70 or so. I know that for most part my eyeshadow palettes are high-end. Anyway, let's get into it. Anyway, so the top one is Sigma. This is an Ivy palette. I picked it up earlier this year. I actually didn't think I'm gonna like this palette as much, but I ended up using this palette the whole entire summer. I work in the dental field for my day profession. It's a very professional environment, so bright makeup and bold makeup is frowned upon. So, but I still like to have some of the neutral colors, and I think this is the type of color story that is acceptable in my work environment. So I actually ended up using this palette a lot in summer, and I think this palette made it into my monthly favorites. I will have all these videos linked for you here. Anything that I'm mentioning in this video, guys, obviously every type of reference that I'm mentioning in today's video, I will be linking in the description box. So make sure to check that out if something is interesting to you. Definitely keeping this one. Another palette by Sigma is a Ritzy, also a very neutral palette. I really love that it's very interesting shades here, like this hazel, and then this brownstone shade is just like a little bit more on like a coppery side shimmer. Well, I love that there's different shimmer textures. So these two shimmers are like fully pigmented, and this one is more of like a topper. It's just like drier formula, but then it has like such a higher reflection. I absolutely love this. I actually get a lot of compliments when I use both of these palettes. Then let's continue with Sigma palettes. I have two more right here. I have that Untamed palette and I have Enchanted. I keep them in their original packages. I do this a lot, you guys, to my palettes. So I really love the packaging on Untamed. It's like velvety tiger-ish. This beautiful fall palette, very interesting color story. We have this like earthy fall tones. I reach for this palette a good amount, and this beautiful blue shimmer shade is stunning. I also really love this Enchanted palette. I love the packaging, it's really pretty. This is more like airy, lighter palette. All these shimmers are more of toppers, so that's why it's slightly different from other palettes, but I very much enjoy it. These shimmer toppers are very, very reflective. They look really beautiful on eyes. Also wanted to mention that these brushes that are included here in the palettes, they actually perform really, really well. They're really useful. Urban Decay, since they're here, because I do have a few. So I do have my Naked Urban Decay palette. You guys, this is my first palette that I've ever purchased, and I think I'm talking about 7-8 years ago. This palette is not going anywhere, even though I feel like back in the days when I purchased it, it was such an amazing color story. Definitely going to keep it forever for just sentimental reasons. However, I still love the color story. I am such a huge neutrals lover, so I still think that this is appealing. Then I have the Naked Reloaded palette. I absolutely love this silk packaging. This color story with just a little bit like coral shade here. I love this palette. I know that A lot of people already decluttered it and all that good stuff. I love neutrals. I will repeat that one more time. I really like that this packaging is different than like the other palettes. I love this. I use it, I love it, and I think that this color store is beautiful. Then I also have the Naked Honey palette. I've made a reels with this palette. I love this. This is beautiful gold fall palette. When I think of using gold shades, I reach for this. I love how the mattes perform. I think this is a really good quality palette. Really like it, and I reach for it. I also have this palette. This is a Born to Run palette. I think this was one of my first ones from Urban Decay. Well, after the Naked one, this was the next one after I bought this. I love this so much. This is totally up my alley. I love every single color. I love the shimmers. They're just full pigment shimmers, and I love how you have so many different color variations. You can create so many different smoky looks with this. One of my favorites. I love the size of this mirror as well, and just like packaging is super nice and sturdy. Heart palettes right here. So I have the Tartalette Toasted palette. I love the formula of this. Mattes blend out so easily. I love the range from lightest to darkest. I also really like that these shimmers are very subtle. They're not too much, so they're very much suitable for everyday use. That's why I reach for this palette quite a bit. And the next one is a Tartalette in Bloom palette. That's a little bit more toned down, a little bit more actually neutral. Again, the same concept, beautiful mattes. They blend out, they build up really nicely. Also a few shimmers here. I think there's only 3 shimmers in this palette, like 1, 2, and 3. And they're very nice and subtle. So perfect palette for just like an everyday use for traveling. I've traveled a good amount with this palette. I love this, and this is staying. I'm keeping it. Here I have a Kkw palette. This is a classic palette. I thought that this formula was a little bit difficult to work with. It takes a little bit of time to build up the mattes. However, I do like how many different matte colors are in here. You just do have like a basic highlighting shade and just deeper tones right here. But I really like that there's a variety of this like transition medium matte shades. And also wanted to say that the shimmers here, you guys, these 2 shimmers are absolutely beautiful. Look at this. This is like a fully pigmented shimmer shades. Also, this shade right here makes perfect face highlight. I know that Kim Kardashian rebranded her brand. I'm not even sure if this is still available, but I'm going to keep the palette because I love it. Okay guys, I just did a thing. I want to show you what I recently picked up, probably in the past several weeks. Definitely going to be keeping all these palettes because I haven't even tried them. Most of them I haven't even tried. So I really have been keeping my eye on this line of LA Girl palettes. I've heard a lot of good things about them, and I finally picked up this one that's a little bit more in like a neutral, cooler tone. This is called Keep It Playful Eyeshadow Palette. Let me know if you guys tried this and what your thoughts are, but I'm kind of excited. I did like some swatches. I really like this palette. I will be trying it very, very shortly. Then I also recently picked up these 2 palettes from Natasha Denona. This is a Star palette, and this is a Mini Love palette. I really like this palette. It's definitely very curated to the story. I definitely have more thoughts on quality of this Natasha Denona mini palettes. I may just do a separate video on this because I just have so much more to say about this. But yes, I'm definitely keeping. And I already tried the Mini Star palette, and I love this color story. Definitely keeping. Great quality. Then I recently picked up this palette. This is a face palette that just recently launched, and I got the lighter version. I haven't even tried this, but I'm pretty sure the quality is amazing, and I've watched some reviews on this, but I will be trying this in my nearest video on camera. Then I picked up the Sonic Balloon by Colourpop. This color store is amazing, but what got me, guys, is this packaging. I love flowers. If you follow me on social media, you guys know how much I love flowers. It just kind of runs in a family. My mom and my sister, we're like all obsessed with flowers. So when I see this palette, and then there's another palette that holster is going to be here that kind of has a similar packaging. First, the packaging got me because this is absolutely gorgeous. And when you open it, oh my God, it's the same. And then the color story is absolutely beautiful. I just genuinely love these colors. I think this is just a color story that appeals to me a lot. I love all these colors and I love Colourpop formula. So I'm in love with this palette. Haven't even swatched it. So I'm like speaking a little bit too soon here, but I'm pretty sure the formula is going to be great. I'm probably going to try this on camera very soon. All right, another new addition that I recently picked up. I kind of talked about it in my unboxing video just recently. It's Smoky Eyes Are Forever by Charlotte Tilbury. Beautiful packaging, very classic, nice and slim. It's a little bit smaller in person than I expected it to be. I didn't think it was going to be this small. However, it's very interesting concept how it's bunched up here in threes. I definitely see myself using this very often. I haven't played with this yet. It's a brand new palette to me. I love every single color here. This is totally me. Have you guys tried Charlotte Tilbury formula? What do you guys think? Is it your favorite? Let me know. But this is my first one and I'm kind of terrified. If I like it too much, then I will probably want to have other things and it's really expensive. These two palettes are by Too Faced. They both have been discontinued. However, I love the packaging. I think I picked them both up at TJ Maxx. This one smells heavenly. Oh my God, I also love the color story. These shimmers are so pretty. I do reach for this. I'm gonna keep it just for myself. I'm definitely not gonna be using it ever on camera, but I love this color story. This one is a little bit more neutral. However, I do like this gold and this green, and this shimmer is a really foily and really pretty. So yeah, I'm keeping it for myself. This is a palette by Milani. This is actually a eyes and face palette. This is a very interesting palette by Color Story. There's two shimmers. I think they're highlighters, but this one on top here has so much texture. It's pretty once you blend it, but I also feel like for a highlighter, it's too piecey. And if you see when it blends, it's really kind of like blends away. However, it leaves the texture behind. So it's not a good quality at all. This one is okay. So this one on the bottom here is okay. It's kind of like a goldish, but it does have a pink shift to it. And again, I feel like the more you blend, the more it goes away. So these eyeshadows, I really love the uniqueness of the color story. However, they have so much fallout. This is probably one of the most beautiful blues I've seen. On the eyes, they look a little bit patchy. So this palette is definitely on my chopping block. I really like how unique it is to my collection and I love the color story. I don't even know if it's still available anymore. I'm gonna play around with this a little bit more and I will make a decision of what to do with this. Then another affordable palette here is by Essence. It's called Beautiful and this is a beautiful neutral palette. I've spoken about this palette. I really love how the pans of this eyeshadow is a little bit larger. I don't believe this is available anymore. However, I really like this palette. I'm going to keep it just for myself since it's not available anymore. I'm not going to be ever using it on camera, but this is just something that I like to keep for myself. But I really love the quality. This performs like a high-end product. Then I have a palette by Makeup Revolution here. This was a holiday edition, I think about 2 years ago. I don't think it was terrible. I think it's actually a decent quality. All the shimmer shades in the middle, they were really pretty. They're kind of like set in the gel formula. They're super high shine. Really beautiful. I actually remember using this palette for one of the like holiday outings and I got so many compliments on this because these shimmers are beautiful. I also like that there's a full-size mirror here and it's kind of like a really nice sturdy packaging. This is a glitter that doesn't fall out. It's just like the plastic that looks like glitter. Again, it's on a chopping block. I will see if I can actually pop these glitters out. So this palette is by Nabla. This is my only Nabla palette. It's a secret palette. Beautiful packaging, absolutely beautiful, and a very interesting color story. I really love this kind of like teal and blue, and this is so pretty. I actually compared this palette to the new Rose Quartz palette. I will have that video linked for you below, and the outcome may actually surprise you. But yes, this is a quite new palette to my collection, and I love this. Obviously, there's a ton of neutrals here, and I'm keeping it. Then I have the Smittens with Zealand by BH Cosmetics. I love this color story. This is in my fall makeup eyeshadow palette rotation. And again, we have some cooler tones. They're perfect for holiday season. The shimmers, guys, in this palette are absolutely gorgeous. They're like literally high-end. I'm definitely going to be keeping this one. There's two palettes from Urban Decay. This is a Petite Heat palette, which I absolutely love. I love this color story. Majority of these are all mattes, and we have like some light shimmer shades. It's not very overpowering, just a very light shimmer, but it's really beautiful just for your like eyebrow bone. I really like this. I traveled a lot with this palette. And then I also have the Urban Decay Basics too. This is a very, very cool tone palette. Again, all of these are mattes. And then again, this is like the same light shimmer shade. You can actually use some of these tones to fill your eyebrows as well if it goes with your complexion. We're almost like half through, I think. Okay, so this pile is all my Juvia's Place palettes. So I have the Nubian 3 Coral palette. I love this so much. This is probably one of my top favorites in my entire collection. If I would probably have to pick 10 palettes out of my collection, this would be one of them. I adore this palette. And the quality of Juvia's Place palettes, if you're not familiar with, it's fabulous. I think it's just genuinely fabulous formula. I love the mattes. They're super pigmented. They're easy to work with. And the shimmers are to die for. So definitely I love this palette for fall. And then this shimmers, if you're looking for like cool tone palette for holidays, this shimmers are, oh my god, they're gorgeous on eyes. They're so reflective. Love this. Then this is my recent palette that I picked up, I don't know, maybe about a month ago or so. I love this color store. It's definitely very curated. It would be perfect to use it around Valentine's Day or maybe in spring. Very unique shimmer shade right here. Look at this. It's kind of like this orangey gold. Oh my god. It's so different and pretty. Absolutely love this palette. Then I also have the Bronze Rustic from Juvia's Place. This was from the same collection as the pink one. Also absolutely love this formula. I've used this palette on camera already in one of my previous recent videos. I really love this color. This is like that carrot red color. I use it all over my lid and I was just like literally obsessed with this. Definitely a very interesting palette that's warm neutral. However, it has a twist. Then this is considerably new palette. It's new to me. I recently picked it up. This is a Nomad palette. This is like very fall palette. Orange reds, very warm, and it has this green and a very interesting almost like a charcoal shimmer shade here. I'm obsessed. This shade was one of the reasons I actually wanted this palette so much, and this green, absolutely gorgeous. Then I have the Taupes by Juvia's Place, and this is definitely a palette that's taupey and cool tone. 3 mattes, 3 shimmers. A beautiful palette. However, it takes a little bit of building up to do with this. They're a little bit on a lighter side, and the formula is different from the rest of their palettes. When this line came out recently, I was a little bit skeptic of if I wanted to purchase this or not. I wasn't sure if I wanted the same formula or more of the same formula. However, this formula is just like the rest of the Juvia's Place palettes. There are a lot of pigments here, and this formula is just completely different from the rest of the palettes. I'm gonna keep this palette for now. And then I have the Magic Mini by Juvia's Place. I really love the design of Juvia's Place palettes. I mean, beautiful color storage, but oh my god, this is pigmented. Holy guacamole. This shimmers here, you guys, are so special. I love this formula. And there's so many different looks that you can come up from this color story only. It's just like endless opportunities. I think I played around with this palette quite a good amount, and I feel like I didn't get through even like a half of the options that that I could possibly create with this palette. The last Juvia's Place palette is the Nubian 2 palette. And this is a slightly different format here. This shade is broken. It came in broken. I tried to repress it, but then it kind of crumbles. I still love it so much. Beautiful color story. The shimmers are to die for. I do have a video where I use this on camera. It's a stunning palette. Like, I love every single color in here. This is just like a fully foiled pigmented shimmers. Amazing. Definitely keeping. So this palette is actually no longer available. This is also from Essence, Magical Mystical Me. I think this was a attempt for Essence to do a dupe for Anastasia Beverly Hills, a Norvina palette. I've used this a ton, as you can see, a really good quality. Beautiful formula. I think Essence literally killed it. No longer available, so I'm gonna put it to the side, just maybe to my project pan or whatnot. You'll probably never see this again. All right, so this one is my new one from Too Faced. I recently just picked it up from 21 Days of Beauty from Ulta, actually. The Natural Nudes. Oh my god, how much I love this, you guys. I can't do a ranking video for my neutral palettes because I love them so much. All of them, I'm a true neutrals lover, so I can't rank this, but oh my god, I love the quality. It's super good. The mattes are beautiful, pigmented, building up really nicely. The shimmers are beautiful. I love this. I'm so happy I got my hands on this palette. Definitely keeping. This is a Gingerbread Extra Spicy palette. I think it was a seasonal launch for Too Faced about 2 years ago. This is my only one that's a seasonal from them. I love this color story. I love the quality. I really love this special shade. It's very, very unique, like glitter blue, like navy with a black base. Oh my god, so beautiful. It does have a little bit of a fallout, but I love this so much. Like the smoky eye with this color is absolutely like to die for. Also, these shades have a little bit like more texture to them, but everything else is absolutely fantastic. I love this palette. Then let me just talk about this one a little bit. This is, oh my god, what's happening here? Marc Jacobs palette. I don't even know what it's called, you guys. What is it called? This is called Terrific. Okay. I actually picked this up this summer, I think. I found this in TJ Maxx and it was super, super affordable. To be honest with you, I like the color story here. I am comfortable wearing like the berry tones and everything. I'm very confused with this shade. It's like, it swatches nicely, but it's almost like has this like a jelly base to it, so it doesn't, you see what's happening when I blend it, it just goes away, but the glitter stays. So I'm really confused with this shade. I never use it. I can't find a good way to use it on the eyes. And the formula of mattes are nice. It blends out really nicely. I have no problem with that, but this shade was just so underwhelming. Like, it swatches nicely, but then on the eyes, it just looks like, look, this is not even a full pigment. Like, I'm not sure about this. Like, I'm going to put this on a chopping block. I think I have my HUDA palettes that have kind of like the same berry story that I love so much, and just the formula is fantastic and like it looks gorgeous on eyes. Yeah, this goes on a chopping block. Even though I love the packaging so much, it's super cute. Yeah, but I'm not a fan of the formulas. Then let me show you these two. You guys probably already seen them on my Instagram and on in my favorites videos. These is by Catrice, 5 in a box mini eyeshadow palettes. They're 5-pan palettes. This kind of like looking like a Natasha Denona sisters here, or cousins. However, I have two shades. I have the warmer one and I have the cooler option. I love them both, guys. They're such a high quality. I actually, no, I think they launched like 4 or 5 of options. I honestly want all of them because the formula is mind-blowing how good this is. All of them, all this, every single shade is like mind-blowingly good. Definitely keeping them. I use them a lot. I traveled with them already several times. Like, I love these. Then here's my Natasha Denona. This is a mini nude palette. Really good quality. I definitely genuinely enjoyed this. This was my first Natasha Denona palette and I wasn't disappointed. Really good stuff. So this palette is actually one of my newest additions. It's a Coral Me Maybe by Essence. I'm really impressed by this quality. I also, guys, picked up, if you watched my recent unboxing video, I also picked up the blue one. Can't remember what it's called. Ice Baby it's called. However, I used it and I was very disappointed by the quality, so I actually ended up returning that, because even for a few dollars, I don't want to keep something that I will never use, because the mattes in that palette were like really bad and patchy, and they were not giving me that color payoff that I was expecting. This one is fabulous. I'm keeping this one. All right, let's go over my Colourpop palettes. I have California Love here, one of my favorite palettes. It does have a pressed glitter here. However, I just think the color story is perfection and the quality is so great. Keeping. Oh my god, my big love right here. Even though I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars, I've watched the movies. However, I think that this is a perfect green palette, and definitely the inspiration that they took from the movie. The design of this palette is just so cute and perfect, and I think they could have done a better job with this palette. Absolutely beautiful color story. This is a type of green palette that I'm comfortable with. It doesn't overwhelm me. Every single shade performs beautifully. The quality is amazing. The shimmers are fabulous. I love this palette. Then I also got a garden variety, and you guys already know why. Well, one of the reasons why, it's because the packaging has flowers in it and it's so gorgeous. And then when you open, actually flipping like the color story. I really love all these colors. I like the greens. I like the purple berry tones. I love the corals. These are the colors that I'm comfortable with. I reach out for it a lot. The formula on this palette is not the best, I would want to say. Like in my other Colourpop palettes, I think it's slightly different. It's a little bit more crumbly and a little bit more textured, but the payoff of the colors and the blendability I have no issues with. So yeah, I'm keeping this palette for sure. So this next one is Dublin Tundra. I don't believe this is available anymore. I think it discontinued, which is such a shame. This is literally like the perfect neutral palette. I do love how it's a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler. The shimmer shades are fabulous. I reach for this palette a ton. I enjoy this so much. Fantastic quality, definitely keeping. Then I have Truly Madly Deeply, and this is the palette that made me fall in love with pink tones. I never dared to use pink eyeshadows or coral eyeshadows before this on my eyes. I always thought that they were not made for me. I would never use them ever, because this is just not acceptable for my skin tone. I always look like I cried. After I tried this, I fell in love with all these tones. I fell in love with corals. I fell in love with like purple tones and pinks, and I just thought that they look so good. There is a way to make these shades look good on skin tone, on my hooded eyes. Even though this palette has 3 pressed glitters, I think that this is a wonderful palette to use for spring, summer, Valentine's Day. It has such a charm to it. This shade is so special. It's beautiful golden shift to the coral shade. I love it. It looks beautiful in the eyes, like so airy, so romantic. One of my favorite things. Yeah, definitely keeping this palette. Then I also have a Fade into Hue, and I know this palette wasn't really accepted like too well by a lot of people. Well, I will explain you why I actually picked it up. So I used to have a colorful eyeshadow, like a rainbow eyeshadow from BH Cosmetics from many years ago. It was a very old formula from BH Cosmetics, and it was not the greatest, and I kind of had it around so I could play around with color. However, it was outdated and the quality wasn't fantastic after all, so I needed the replacement for that palette so I could get rid of that BH one, and then I needed a new one. So when this palette was launched, it was not even a question like if I was gonna pick it up or not. It was meant for me. I do love that there's actually pressed glitter here because it is a colorful palette. This is not something that I would wear every day. However, I love playing with this color. I like creating looks for photo shoots and things like that, and just for artistry reasons. So some of these are pigments, so they do stain your eyes. Some of these mattes are absolutely fantastic, like this blue, cobalt blue. It's so gorgeous, and I don't have anything like it. It does have some minor fallout, very minor. Of course, we're not talking about glitters. Glitter has to be used with adhesive. Like deepest mattes would stain your eyes, so just be mindful of that. But overall, I love this palette. I'm definitely keeping it. Alright guys, this palette is by BH Cosmetics, is Lost in Los Angeles. I picked this up this year. I definitely think that this is a quite unique palette to my collection. It's all pastels, but I absolutely love this. I love all these pastels. I think there is a time and a place for all these to be used. At first, like, you won't see how to put these colors together. However, if you actually combine the colors, you can come up with very, very pretty looks. I do have a very short video where I create the look with this palette, and I actually fell in love with this. The formula is fabulous. I really love this white matte shade here. It's really good for creating a lot of different looks, highlighting your brow bone, inner corner. That has been a trend with doing that white shade instead of the highlighter. Put it the white matte in your inner corner. So yeah, I enjoy this palette a lot. The quality is amazing. Definitely keeping. These are, I don't even know where to start. So you remember how much hype there was about these quads from e.l.f.? I think they're good. I don't think they're that good. This has been used quite a bit. However, this broke. I didn't actually use all this stuff. The shimmer shades in these quads are really, really good. They truly feel like high-end. However, I'm not impressed with mattes. This matte specifically looks very patchy on me. And then this one just doesn't do anything. I couldn't depot them from these palettes I tried. So yeah, I think I'm gonna declutter both of these. Kind of enjoyed this palette, but I just feel like I have something similar to this Color Story in a larger palettes, and then the formula that I enjoy most. So I'm definitely gonna declutter these two for now. Let me bring the big daddies here. So I kind of wanted to talk about this palette with you guys. This is a 35D Desert Bouquet by Morphe. You guys, I haven't purchased anything from Morphe in so long. So long. I'm talking about like years. I think the last time I purchased something from Morphe was like, I don't know, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, like a very long time ago. Honestly, just have maybe like 2-3 things in my whole entire makeup collection from Morphe. Anyway, so I saw this palette and I just couldn't resist. I mean, first of all, you guys see why. And then second of all, this. I just love every single freaking shade of it. I love how the colors are organized. A lot of Morphe palettes are just kind of like scrambled all over the place, and it's just easy for me to comprehend such a large palette when the shades are all scattered around, and it's hard for me to kind of isolate the color stories. So this palette makes it easier because it's all combined in columns. So we have cool tones, we have warm tones, we have like berry tones, we have pink, we have green. I love this formula. I think it's good. Some of the shimmers have a little bit more texture to them. I usually just apply them with my finger. And one thing that I wanted to say is that I really love this black matte color right here. I use it as an eyeliner. And then this white matte shade is also really, really good for highlighting purposes. Everything else I truly enjoy. One thing that I wanted to say is that nothing creases. I use this palette a lot for every day for my day job. And I love this. Like, I literally can't get enough of this. I've talked about this on my Instagram a ton. This palette is not going anywhere. It's fabulous. The shimmers are just not like overpowering shimmers, but they're beautifully pigmented and they're suitable for everyday wear. They're not like super glam shimmers that you would think of, like a ABH shimmers or Huda Beauty shimmers or even Juvia's Place shimmers. They're not like that. They're not like super foily, super like bam into your face. No, they're a little bit more subtle. However, they're fully pigmented and nothing creases, nothing falls out. There's a very teeny bit of fallout on like, I think like this shade right here. However, when you brush it off, nothing smudges. So it's really easy to use palette. I just love this so much. Then I kind of wanted to show you this palette really quickly. This is an Ulta palette. It's Ultimate Matte 42 Pan palette, all mattes by BH Cosmetics. I think that they still have this palette. You can get it. It's all matte colors. Beautiful, colorful palette. I reach for this a ton. I love all of this. The formula is really, really good. Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God. This is like literally my very first eyeshadow palette. I'm talking about like 8 years ago. Oh my God, this just gives me goosebumps, honestly. Of course, it's like all neutrals because I was like terrified of color in the past. It's so funny, right? Anyway, this palette is super flipping old. Nobody should keep the palettes this old, I think. But let me tell you, this palette still performs. It doesn't crease. There's no fallout. Anyway, I'm keeping this for sure. Forgot to mention $35. So this palette, an eyeshadow palette that came as a gift with purchase from Ulta Beauty. I actually like this palette. It's not a terrible quality at all. I think it's a perfect palette for just using every day. I think like the shimmers are actually really nice. As you can see, they're like pretty thick. Like this one is pretty thick. You can definitely build this one up. They're really nicely and full of pigment. This is a really nice palette like for everyday use. You can travel with this. Very neutral, very basic. However, it's not obviously available, so I'm definitely going to be putting it on the side. I'm not going to declutter it. I kind of like to keep stuff like this just for like travel. You guys know that I like to travel with more affordable products just in case something breaks, if something gets lost. Maybe I'll just take it to work into my work bag or something like that and just keep it there. But I'm just going to pull it out of my main collection. This is a Midnight Vibes from Ulta Beauty. They do have two different ones that's available. They're like more neutral. I think one is like pink and another one is a little bit warmer tones. These two are matte and this row is matte and everything else is shimmer. I've tried a lot of Ulta Beauty products. As you guys know how much I love their brushes. I've tried a lot of their makeup. Like I would say majority of their makeup I've tried. However, I've never tried their eyeshadow formula except like these two palettes. I know that they have a singles eyeshadows and I've never tested those. I don't know if it's the same formula. So I know that this shimmers actually, they wear really well. I wore them throughout the day to work and they don't crease. They're really nice, like thin formula, but they have like a really nice high reflection. As you can see, they're beautiful just for everyday wear. So I think this is a good formula. However, these mattes here, they're so patchy. They're terrible. But again, I have so many of these colors. I think I'm gonna declutter this. All right, so this is a one by Milani. This is a soft and sultry and beautiful, just plastic packaging, and then has a full-size mirror. This is just a cool tone palette. Fabulous quality. This quality is really good. I actually bought this last year at this time last year, and I think this is a really good quality palette. So if you were looking for one palette that's cool toned, I think this is a really good option. This palette is by Clarins. You guys, this was given to me as a gift by my boyfriend's mother at last Christmas, and I'm just gonna keep it because it was a gift. It does remind me a little bit of a HUDA palettes somehow, but it does have beautiful colors. It's actually a really decent quality. I'm not saying it's like the best one, but they're kind of like softly pressed, and like this is a really like beautiful, soft on touch, very like foily. Oh my god, my fingers are so stained from all the swatches. So yeah, this is a really pretty color. It's kind of like purplish, bluish, has like shift to it. Like this is a beautiful color, like purplish. I really like how there's like pinks and purples and golds and neutrals and blacks. Like I really like it, so I'm gonna keep it, you know, for now because it was also a gift. So yeah, briefly showing you this shelf here where I store some of the eyeshadow formulas and palettes that I truly enjoy and I have a lot of. You might have seen that portion already. Those are all my face palettes, and I will have that video linked for you here. So we're not going to be going through that portion today because we're going to be talking about eyeshadow palettes specifically. Here I have my HUDA palettes, and then here I have my Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. I will show you briefly what I have, which palettes I have from those brands. I will tell you right away that I won't be decluttering any of them because I love them, and this is basically a part of my collection. Let's go ahead and start from this palette right here. This is a Ruby Obsessions. I love this color story. It's definitely very curated, like a red-ish berry color story, which I truly enjoy, especially in the fall and winter season. It's perfect for holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving even. I love this. I think all these colors look beautiful in any skin tone. I'm very pale and I truly enjoy this. The mattes are beautiful and the shimmers are beautiful. I definitely think that this is one of like the very curated and unique palettes to my collection. The next palette is the Emerald Obsessions, also very curated green tone palette, which I love. The green matte colors in this palette are not my favorite. They perform nicely and I don't have any complaints about them. However, they just kind of clash with my skin tone. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel. However, I'm specifically keeping this palette, well, because of the collection, that's one reason. And also all the shimmers are fantastic. I love them so much. They're so unique, especially this shade right here is just this beautiful, almost like a gold, but with green shift to it. It is so unique to my collection. Yeah, this is just so special. The next palette is the Topaz Obsessions. This is a very warm tone neutral palette. I really love how there are 5 mattes and 4 shimmers. I love them all. I have no issues with them performing. I just love this color story and I use this palette quite a bit. Next, we have a warm brown Obsessions palette. This is primarily a matte eyeshadow palette, except one shimmer shade that's right in the middle. Again, a very neutral palette. However, I do like how you can create a little bit more cooler tone neutral, and you can go with more berry, warmer tones and create a warmer fall look. I love this palette. Then I do have 2 nude palettes from the nude line, nude light and then nude medium. Light version is this one right here. It's a beauty. I love it. I've talked about this palette on my channel a good amount. The medium one is also a beautiful color story. I love every single look I create with this palette. I reach for it a ton. Like those shimmers, the mattes, I just love everything about them. And I really like that the packaging is plastic in this 9 pans. So let's move on to my larger palettes by Huda. So I kind of keep them still in their original boxes. So here I have the Rose Gold palette. The packaging design is absolutely stunning. I love this. It's absolutely beautiful, just rosy tones. I actually love it in the fall, also for Valentine's Day. The next palette is Desert Dusk palette, and again the design is fabulous and this color story is absolutely fantastic. I talked about this palette in my fall eyeshadow palette video. I will have this video for you linked as well. I really love the options for the purple tones here. This is the type of like purples that I actually love. I don't mind them on my eyes, and I do love this glitter. It's absolutely stunning. Even though I know some people don't love glitters, I don't mind glitters. I think there is a place and time for using glitters, even though I'm in my mid-30s and then some people say that, oh, you shouldn't be using glitters at that age. But I just don't follow stereotypes. I do what I do, and I do what I love, and I use the makeup that I love, that I feel good about. Yeah, I love this glitter. I think it's gorgeous. It is a little bit scratchy, let's say, so you definitely need adhesive for it. But overall, this palette is gorgeous because I love the cool tones. I love the warmer options, and the shimmer options here are just fantastic. I love this. As I'm filming this, Sephora has this literally discounted to like $13, which is blowing my mind because this is such an amazing quality. Then I have new nude palette. Again, this is one of my favorite palettes when I have to reach out for something that has this type of tones. Initially, I was pretty intimidated with this. Even though it's muted, it has purplish and pink undertones to the shades, and I wasn't sure if I could handle this color story on my eyes and make me look like I didn't cry for the whole entire night. However, I found the way. I absolutely love this color story. It does have 2 packed glitters here that completely need an adhesive. It doesn't have a sticky base, so they're really just packed in there, but there's a ton of fallout, so you definitely need to use some sort of primer for an adhesive for those shades. And I do suggest that all the Huda Beauty palettes, I would suggest you do the eye makeup look first and then do the rest of the face of your makeup. Beautiful, beautiful. This is probably one of my favorite. If I am looking for the stones, this is unbeatable palette in my opinion. I don't even want to buy any more palettes that have these tones. Then we have Mercury Retrograde, fabulous palette, beautiful, unique color story. Some interesting pastel shades here, purples and more like orangey colors. And this is just so pretty. These colors are absolutely beautiful. They look kind of scary at first, but then on eyes for a warmer season, they look absolutely stunning. And then I have my new Air Edition Rose Quartz palette. She's stunning. It was just a recently launched, even though it's muted and it kind of looks boring in the palette. However, on eyes, it just looks stunning. The shimmers are absolutely gorgeous. So let's move on to this area right here. I do have my Anastasia palettes here. So I'm going to briefly show you. This is a Sultry palette. I picked it up last year in a vault. I paid full price for it and I'm not regretting it. This is such a stunning like holiday palette. So whenever I think of holiday glam, this is the palette that I automatically think about. I have the Norvina palette. I've used this palette a good amount. This is a very pretty, just very airy, does have some lighter pink and purple shades. I very much enjoy. Then I have Modern Renaissance. Again, beautiful berry tone palette. This palette shimmers are slightly different from the rest of the palettes. They are more of a satin look rather than very glam shimmery shades. So this is more subtle. This is a very good everyday palette. Next I have a Soft Glam. This is such a beautiful neutral palette. Again, it's a little bit more in a warmer tone. However, you do have a really nice range from lightest to darkest, some beautiful shimmers. Again, very nice palette to use for every day, and you can also use one of these beautiful, very high shine shimmers that are fully pigmented and just turn it into like a very much glam look. I do have the Subculture palette. This is such a perfect fall color story. There were a lot of controversy about this palette when it was launched. However, I really love all these shades for the mattes, and then these tones, you guys. This is the most beautiful, unique shimmer shades that I probably have in my collection. I would just keep this palette only for these two shades. And then I have the Jackiana palette. This is a new addition to my collection. I recently just picked it up, probably last month. I initially was so intimidated by this because I'm not a huge fan of purples. However, I looked more into it since I love Anastasia Beverly Hills formula so much for these palettes. I definitely took a second look at this palette and learned that I absolutely love this. If I close these two purples, it's a very much neutral palette. This beautiful shade here, oh my god, this is so gorgeous. Fiery, bronzy, such a complex and unique shimmer shade. Okay guys, so kind of organized some of these palettes in piles, so it just makes a little bit more sense. So I started with 74 palettes total. So this is my high-end pile. Obviously my HUDA palettes are not here, my Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes are not here because they're stored separately and I'm keeping them all. And this is my drugstore piles. I have my Morphe, BH, Cosmetics, my Milani, Catrice, LA Girl, Colourpop, my Juvia. So this is all that I'm keeping. And this is obviously all that I'm keeping here. So I will be keeping 41 palettes from high-end, and then I'm keeping drugstore options of 24 total. This is a small pile that I will be decluttering, and this is a pile that I am kind of like putting on the side. This is only 6 palettes here. However, these 3 palettes I know for a fact are not available. This was never available and for sale. It was just gift with purchase option, and these 2 palettes are on the chopping block. Even though I know this is a retired palette, it's no longer available unless you find it on the secondary market, and this one is still, I think, available. However, I'm not sure of the quality. How do you guys think I did? What do you think of my collection? And I do have a few other palettes that are coming in mail. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumb up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you will see more videos in your timeline from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in my next videos. Bye.